right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, my Clubhouse family. I got a co-host with me today over in Clubhouse. Good afternoon, my YouTube family. Thank you for joining me on this broadcast of Keeping Up with Congress. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. Woo-hoo-wee. What a day, what a day. If you're following me right here on YouTube, would you please hit that like button, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe, hit that notification. Please share this broadcast. I'm coming to you live on Clubhouse. Thank you, Rye, for being my trusty co-host today, following me, helping me, being a part of this campaign. I am so appreciative of you, brother. All right, we're going to get this party started. We got a lot to say, a lot is going on. You know, I always like to bring you some reparations news. Let's see what's going on in the world of reparations, y'all. The city of Amherst, North Carolina, y'all. North Carolina has a new panel to develop a reparations fund in Amherst, North Carolina. We'll take it. You know, reparations, let's be real clear. Reparations is a federal agenda. It is a federal agenda. These states, these local municipalities, we appreciate it. We're going to get everything we can get. We're not going to turn nothing down. But let's be real clear. The repair, the redress that needs to happen for us as a people must come through the federal government for it to work for all of us collectively, those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery in this country. So over in Amherst, this article says town officials are establishing a new committee to develop a reparations fund for making restitution for past harms to Black residents. Here's where it gets a little foggy, family. Here's where it gets a little foggy. It says in a unanimous vote this week, the Cape Town Council agreed to form the African Heritage Reparation Coalition. Let me say that again. The African Heritage Reparation Coalition. Too vague, isn't it? Quite vague. A group that will determine the best way to promote equity and justice. This African Heritage Reparation Coalition, a group that will determine the best way to promote equity and justice. I get afraid, y'all, when I see these broad words, African, Black, minority, people of color. We got to be real clear about when we use the word reparations, what that means and who that is actually owed to. So I see you, my YouTube family. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining in this afternoon. Let me make my screen a bit larger so you guys can see me over there. Let's see. Yeah, you can hear me. You can hear me quite well. Yes, awesome. We'll make the screen larger. It says a group known as Amherst African Heritage Residents for Reparation, made up of Black residents. Here's another encompassing word. Black residents who have served in elected office, made the appeal along with co-founders of Reparations for Amherst. Barbara Love, a former member of the school committee and Amherst resident since 1970, said the process will lead to direct revenues into a fund that the African American community would direct to the needs and priorities of residents. It's about reparations. I keep telling y'all the word reparations is reserved for federal. But this is their form of redress, and it's a little too broad for me. But we appreciate the efforts. Amherst has a growing number of African heritage residents. Okay, is that how they're describing us? It says Amherst has a growing number of African heritage residents who want to see this response from the town council, Love said. Love is among those working to organize the Black community through a census and community feedback, to speak with one voice about how reparations are offered. A proposal committee charge will go to the Governance, Organization, and Legislation Committee of the Town Council with a report back to councilors by June 21st. So this is going to happen pretty fast. The draft charge contains a plan for developing ongoing funding streams to repair past harms committed by the town against Black people, an allocation plan to be determined and approved by the broader Black community, and additional repair for anti-Black structural and communal racism, including public events and activities that prioritize truth-telling and reconciliation. Y'all, we got to watch this broad language, these long sentences. Ooh, we keeping up with Congress, y'all, keeping our eyes on what's happening in reparations across this nation. Over in Tulsa, they had the hearings here in Congress this week. Here's a 107-year-old survivor, y'all. She is absolutely beautiful, and God has her here for such a time as this. Such a time as this. This survivor of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre shared eyewitness accounts. Her story is amazing. It says the day that a white mob came to Greenwood Avenue in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Viola Fletcher was just 7 years old. During emotional testimony on Capitol Hill on Wednesday, Fletcher, who is now 107, recalled her memories of the two-day massacre that left hundreds of Black people dead. She says, "I will never forget the violence of the white mob when we left our home. I still see Black men being shot, Black bodies laying in the street. I still smell smoke and I see fire. I still see Black businesses being burned. I still hear airplanes flying overhead. I hear the screams," Fletcher told lawmakers. "I have lived through the massacre every day. Our country may forget this history, but I cannot." Wow, 107 years old and still can feel this thing as if it was yesterday and she was 7 years old. God has her here, y'all, for such a time as this. Fletcher and the two survivors of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, her younger brother Hughes Van Ellis and Leslie Benningfield Randall, testified before a House Judiciary Subcommittee on Wednesday, nearly 100 years to the date of the massacre. Some historians say as many as 300 Black people were killed and another 10,000 were left homeless. Greenwood was destroyed by the attack that was launched on May 31st, 1921. Let's not forget. We won't forget. We won't forget. If you haven't gone to the Congress's website to watch this hearing, please do. It is definitely worth our time watching it. And it's heavy, y'all. Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Goes on to say, Leslie Benningfield Randall, who testified over video conference, said the effects of the massacre are still felt today in Tulsa. "My opportunities were taken from me and my community. Black Tulsa is still messed up today. They didn't rebuild it. It's empty. It's a ghetto." Randall, who is now 106 years old, that was his quote. Randall, which is the sister, she said she not only survived the massacre, but she has also now survived 100 years of painful memories. She says, "By the grace of God, I'm still here. I have survived to tell this story. Hopefully now you will all listen to us while we are still here." Whew, heavy, 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 y'all. Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So there's a new racial justice bureau in California. The Department of Justice will support the state's reparations task force. Over in California, for those of you that are following this reparations movement like I am, over in California, it says the California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced on May 11th, which was last week, that he has created a new bureau within the Department of Justice dedicated to fighting discrimination and investigating hate crimes. Bonta said the new Bureau of Racial Justice, which will be housed under the Civil Rights Enforcement section, will also support the California task force that the state has charged with studying the impact of slavery and Jim Crow and coming up with reparations recommendations for Blacks in California and around the country. Now, I hope they get this right with this word Blacks. You know, all of us, ain't all skin folks ain't kin folks. We got to get this right. Those of us who are descendants of slavery are the ones that are entitled to reparations. We got to be real clear about the language and how we're using this and utilizing this. So it goes on to talk about in September of last year, Governor Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill 3121 into law. The legislation, introduced by current California Secretary of State Shirley Weber when she served in the Assembly, requires the state to set up the task force. Bonta has not yet spelled out how the Bureau will contribute to the state's reparations effort, but he stressed the urgency of creating it. He goes on to say, throughout California's history, too many of us have felt the sting of hate and discrimination. The fact is, no part of California is immune to hate. Too many Asian, Latino, Black, Native American, people with disabilities, the LGBTQ, Jewish, Muslim, and Silk Californians all across the state are hurting. It's quite inclusive. According to the Department of Justice, the Bureau will focus on 6 areas: hate crimes and organizations, implicit and explicit biases in policing, law enforcement best practices, campus climate issues, and the task force to study and develop reparation proposal for African Americans. So they got their work cut out for them, but they do have a new agency, an agency to really specifically work on this issue. So we'll take it. You know, these are all steps in the right direction. So we'll definitely take it and keep kicking the can down the road, as we saw in another article that just yesterday. So again, I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. You know, we are back on the campaign trail. Please go to the website, family. It is Tamara, Tamara, 4 FOR, Georgia spelled out.com. That's Tamara 4 Georgia.com. Go to the website. Please, if you would, make a donation. We have a whole campaign that we got to prepare for, a whole race. You know, this is 1 year, May 24th, 2022. May 24th, 2022 is election day. We can't wait to get ready. We got to stay ready. We got to be ready, and we got to do the work now. So please go to the website. It again is Tamara, Tamara, 4 FOR, Georgia, all spelled out.com. So let's take a look at these bills. Keeping up with Congress, y'all. Keeping up with Congress. Let's take a deep dive into these bills here. Let me put this back on the screen. So HR 816 is the Restoring Communities Left Behind Act. The Restoring Communities Left Behind Act. This is Representative Capter. This is Marcy Capter. She's a Democrat out of Ohio. This bill directs the Department of Housing and Urban Development to establish a grant program for local partnerships to carry out neighborhood revitalization support activities in economically distressed areas. So it goes on to say the eligibility activities include the weatherization and energy efficiency and improvements, housing accessibility improvements for seniors and persons with disabilities. Here's where it is kind of disturbing. I'm a little thrown off by it, where it talks about purchasing delinquent mortgages. Wait a minute now, this sounds predatory. We got to be careful here. Purchasing delinquent mortgages, purchasing and developing vacant or distressed properties to create affordable rental housing and for other purposes. And I highlighted this affordable rental housing. Whew, y'all, this is that word affordable scares me, particularly with this Biden administration. They're not talking about home ownership and making sure that people are able to live and to, own the homes where they live. They're talking about affordable housing. They just want to know if you got a job, you can pay your rent. Just make it affordable. No, what about home ownership? What about people owning the land, owning the home? They don't talk about that. So when I see affordable housing, that strikes a nerve here. And also goes on to talk about improving parks and sidewalks and street lighting. So this is Democrat Marcy Capter. Like I said, 2 parts of this I'm not all right with, but we'll take it, Miss Marcy. Democrat out of Ohio, HR 816. HR 817 is to extend the authorization for the Cape Cod National Seashore Advisory Commission to extend the authorization of the Cape Cod National Seashore Advisory Commission. I told you I take very special interest in food, air, water, and land. Food, air, water, and land, y'all. We're going to get we're going to have to work on negotiations in a lot of ways, in a lot of spaces with a lot of issues. But when it comes to food, air, water, and land, we have to get it right. HR 817. And I looked it up. The Cape Cod National Seashore Advisory Commission, wanted to know a little bit more about it. This commission was first authorized in 1961. The purpose of the commission is to consult with the Secretary of the Interior or his or her designee about matters relating to the development of Cape Cod National Seashore and specific sections of the Act establishing the seashore. The advisory commission reached a sunset date of September 26, 2018. So it's been sunset, and this legislator wants to bring it back. Representative Keating, William Keating, Democrat out of Massachusetts. HR 819, HR 819. Hey, Don, I see you over there. I see you. Thank you for joining me on the broadcast this afternoon over in the YouTube space over here. HR 819 is Stop Corrupt Iranian Oligarchs and Entities Act. Representative Kustoff, David Kustoff, he's a Republican out of Tennessee. Like I said, the reason why I'm telling you about these bills is, like I said, when we go to Congress and we're trying to get reparations, they're not going to just give it to us without some negotiations. We need to be prepared. We need to know what's coming down the pipe, what kind of bills are out here, what we're going to be up against, the players. Who are these legislators? Let's get to know these legislators. Let's know who they are. Let's follow what they're doing. Let's get to know them, get to know these legislators, because we're going to need allies, and we're going to need people to align themselves with us with reparations. But guess what? This is all about negotiations. We got to be real clear. We're going to have to give some things in order to get what we want when we get to Congress. So this again is HR 819, Stop the Corrupt Iranian Oligarchs and Entities Act. This bill directs the Department of the Treasury to report to Congress on Iranian individuals and parastal groups that have close relationship with the Iranian government. So I had to look this word up. This is a new word, parastatal. I think I said it wrong. Parastatal. Yeah, there it is, y'all. Parastatal. Yes. It says having some political authority and serving the state indirectly. So it's a company or agency or intergovernmental organization that possesses political clout and is separate from the government, but whose activities serve the state either directly or indirectly. So yeah, they're trying to address the corruption with these Iranian oligarchs and entities. This is again David Kustoff, Representative David Kustoff, Republican out of Tennessee, HR 819. HR 820 is the New Philadelphia National Historic Park Act. Darian Hood, Representative LaHood, Representative Darren LaHood, Republican out of Illinois. This bill establishes the New Philadelphia Historic Park in Illinois as a unit of the national park system. So this is Representative LaHood, Republican out of Illinois. So this next bill, HR 821, is near and dear to my heart, y'all. I told y'all I have receipts in these political streets. I'm not a new jack. I've been around for a while. So I wanted to share a bill, which is HR 821, next on our update here. It's a bill that has been actually introduced in Congress for probably over 20 years. And back in 2012, I actually went to Washington and testified. No. Let me reset it. I advocated. Let me use that word. I advocated. I didn't make it to the floor to do even testify. I advocated. And I was lobbying. Some people said it's lobbying. We didn't get any money, so I don't call it lobbying. I was an advocate for this legislation. So HR 821, Small Business Tax Fairness and Compliance Simplification Act. This bill expands the tax credit for a portion of the employer-based Social Security taxes for employee cash tips to include beauty establishments. So what's happening in the beauty and barber industry is that if you own a salon and if you have employees, and say you get a customer and that customer gives your employee a tip, not only is that employee being taxed on that tip, the salon owner is being taxed on that tip. So there's double taxation happening in the beauty and barber industry. This was actually a tip credit that was given to the restaurant industry some years ago, but it was never given to the beauty industry for various reasons, which I won't dive into the specifics of that, but it's a mess. to why they won't give this industry that. And we've been advocating as an industry for almost 20, like I said, well over 20 years. But back in 2012, I actually went to Congress and testified. I'm going to show you my quick little video. Let me see if I can play it here. Hold on a second. Let me make it larger. Here I am, y'all. Look at me.
Johnson, and we are at the Welcome to the World event on Capitol Hill, where staffers, Congress people, House and Senate are invited to learn what the beauty industry is all about. And we just spent a day of lobbying, going office to office, advocating for the beauty industry. And Tamara has done some advocating, very grassroots, in your state of Georgia. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've started there for Georgia?
The Georgia Advocacy of Concerned Beauty Professionals is an organization that was started to bring to the forefront all the issues that we have in the state of Georgia. It's a way to keep the Board of Cosmetology, our governor, our Secretary of State, our licensees, of course, all involved, informed, and engaged.
It's wonderful, because what we're finding out is that if you're willing to put yourself out there and if you're willing to be involved, there's a place for you. I mean, today, just realizing how the whole process can kind of be demystified. I mean, you can talk to your representatives, but people don't really know how to. How could, let's say in Georgia, how could somebody get involved with you?
Go to our website. It's www.gacbp.org and get involved. Join. We need all of our licensees to be involved.
So do you go directly to your representatives? You talk to them about the beauty industry? You talk to them about your concerns, about the importance of licensing?
Yes, we do. We talk about everything from continuing education to salon sanitation, everything that involves our industry, we address it.
That's great. And that's what today is all about. Letting them know a little bit about us, letting them be welcome to our world. So thank you so much for your time.
Uh-oh. Was my mic muted, y'all? I'm sorry. I was saying that HR 822 is a rich person's problem. This is to repeal the estate tax of 2021, where, it's millions of dollars that you have to have in assets at death to be taxed. I don't know anybody. I don't know any millionaires like that. So I don't know any millionaires. HR, let's move on to the next one. HR 823. HR 823 is the No Vote, No Raise Act. No Vote, No Raise Act. This bill eliminates the automatic pay adjustment for members of Congress. Now, y'all gonna find this quite interesting. This is again Representative Robert Latata, Republican out of Ohio. I'm like, okay, No Vote, No Raise Act. Okay, and this automatic pay adjustment that these legislators are getting, it's the salary increase, the cost of living increase that these legislators are getting. I read a little bit further that they haven't taken one since 2009, but hell, they don't need it. Look at my screen. In 2009, our legislators in Congress, their annual salary is $174,000. That's way above the median income of most of us, right? So look, they don't need it. $174,000 is the salary. But why do many of them leave there, or while they're there, they become millionaires? Where's this other money coming from? Keeping up with Congress, y'all. Those are just questions that we ask. No Vote, No Raise Act. There it is. That's Representative Robert Latata, Republican out of Ohio. We're almost at the half hour, y'all. Just a few more bills, couple more bills. HR 824 is the Stop China's IP Theft Act. The Stop China's IP Theft Act. Representative Lesko, Debbie Lesko, Republican out of Arizona, Debbie Lesko. This bill directs the Department of State and the Department of Homeland Security to deny entry into the United States to senior Chinese Communist Party officials, the spouses and children of such officials, members of the cabinet of the Chinese government, and active duty members of Chinese armed forces. Oh, they're not playing with the Chinese. They're really not. See somebody trying to ping me in over here. Yeah, we're keeping up with Congress at 5 o'clock, y'all. This prohibition shall not apply in any year in which the Office of the Director of National Intelligence certifies to Congress that China's government has stopped sponsoring, funding, facilitating, and actively working to support efforts to infringe the intellectual property rights of U.S. citizens and companies. So it's a little stipulation in there, but they're not playing with anybody from China right now. HR 824, Representative Lesko, Republican out of Arizona. So we're at the half hour, God. We did good today. We are at the half hour. We're at the half hour. I'm going to join you in just a moment, my Clubhouse family. I see you, Pamela and Jonathan. We're going to come over there in just a few minutes. HR 825, the Gun Violence Prevention Research Act of 2021. Representative Maloney, Carolyn Maloney, Democrat out of New York. This bill authorizes the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, to conduct or support research on firearm safety or gun violence prevention. I told you we see a lot of things in keeping up with Congress. We see a lot of abortion bills, veterans, immigration, national security. We see gun legislation. That's what this is. And streamlining these processes, the few bills that we've saw thus far today. So we've been keeping our eyes on Congress. We do this again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 5:30. Again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 5:30. I like to bring you about 30 minutes here on YouTube. I take 30 minutes and go over to my Clubhouse family, and we have a conversation there around politics, wherever the conversation needs to go. But I want to thank you. Please go to the website. It's Tamara, TAMARA 4 FOR, Georgia spelled out.com. Go to the website. If you're here on YouTube, hit that like, hit the subscribe, the notifications, and share. Thank you for joining me on this week's broadcast. Today is like my Friday. It's really Thursday, but it's like my Friday. So I will see you back here, my YouTube family. I will see you back here Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But please go to the website. We got a race to win. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend.